So in further observance of the blackest of Black History months, let's try to Run the Jewels song. Now, only half of Run the Jewels is black, that half being the great Michael Killer Mike Render, the other being Jamie LP Moline. And it's interesting how the song combines with the prelude and the epilogue, sort of. It begins with a Rod Sterling Twilight Zone. Important digression. The Rod Sterling written Twilight Zones are some of the greatest television ever conceived. That's why I haven't seen a single episode of Black Mirror. Do you know that? Could you believe that? It seems like it would be up my alley. I'd probably like it. But, not to be condescending, but I don't need to see Black Mirror because I've seen every episode of The Twilight Zone. They would show it on marathons back in when the Sci-Fi Channel was cool. Remember when sci-fi was sci-fi and it had Mystery Science Theater and anime and all sorts of real cool stuff? Many of you might not know that. You only know it now as the sci-fi with the Y, and it's just good shows once in a while, but not the way programming used to be. There used to be some cool stuff on there, stuff they probably wouldn't want you to even know about, Mystery Science Theater now, the only where you can see it, I think, is on the Comet station. It's a little obscure little local station that shows like little B movies. But yeah, Twilight Zone. Grew up on that. Rod Sterling was a genius. Like a certified genius. Like a bleeding heart, commie, fucking weird, one of those like Vince Gilligan type of Christians, who is like just sees it as parable, but sees a world in which there needs to be karmic justice. There needs to be, that there's the world in which there's the devil and there's evil, but there's also good. And, most of his most famous Twilight Zones always end bleakly. But with this, almost cathartic sense of justice, of vengeance. Remember, think about it. Remember the episode where it's like the rich people and they're all wearing their masks, but then they take the mask off and they fucking it's like Knives Out. It's like Knives Out, pretty much. And then they wait for the old man to die to get his money, but then like they become the deformed thing. It's a common trope he does within Eye of the Beholder. His best, my favorite, is the monsters do on Maple Street. The obvious allegory for McCarthyism. But just it says something about the human need to do a scapegoat. And then like even if you think about the end when it's like, it's just technological, like it's like they take down the grid. And then you're like, oh wait. Oh shit. The monsters always have been here. So that's why this song begins with Rod Sterling and ends with Martin Luther King. Because there's parables. Like Rod Sterling, he couldn't have as much of a diverse cast as he would like because of the confines and the limits, but trust me, Rod Sterling, many of his famous ones they're coded about racial injustices and segregation, and he saw the evil in the hearts of men, just like fucking Run the Jewels, just like you. Again, if you're watching this, you're very smart, good looking, kind. I love you. So, the 2006 used to be the best album until the last one came out. Run the Jewels 3. This is Thieves. Screamed the Ghost. You walk into this room at your own risk because it leads to the future. Not a future that will be, but one that might be. This is not a new world. It is simply an extension of what began in the old one. Conversing with a ghost, he was screaming, he was leaving Jesus. He had the highest hopes. People yelling, screaming at police, and rides tonight. fill the air, and most don't know the reason. Fire and light, burning, looting, shooting, taking, thieving. Never knew his name. But they know his problems and feel his pain. Shit's still the same. We just prey off in they deadly game. It'll never change. Too much profit in it and stay the same. The facts still remain. You can burn the system and start again. Spoke with a ghost. Late night, same night. God, let me sleep, please, I'm begging you. Said, don't be afraid. Daylight might never break red again once they get at you. Said you'll never be alone again. This house is haunted by pain transposed into revenue. They murdered all stay. The thing when your mind says run, but your heart isn't letting you. Said we got an army now. You strike them down, they all live inside hearts carry them. The weapon is our memory. Some get to count sheep, some gotta count kids that they bury in. I don't want to scare nobody. Fear's been law for so long, the rage feels like therapy. But I'ma make 'em remember me. Nobody gets no more sleep till we teach them remembering. Thieves! What have you done? What have you done? What are they making you do? Thieves! Coming live at 5, we got new news breaking. You heard it here first. If you don't die waiting, hard to review the scene I just seen. I'll try to convey, but it defies explaining. Started with folks just crying, nothing but broken heart sobs and the shrieks of the sirens. Right at the spot where the blood's still drying. My God, I saw it. The dead began rising. I don't know much about science, but I seen an army of armed men stop and get quiet. Mist hung low like a prayer from a tyrant. Sky became black like the stars on a lion. Too many years of this violence. Now we're surrounded by the souls of the dead and defiant, saying, look what you've done, you've designed it. When the bout breaks, hear the wraith scream, riot. No more moms and dad crying, no more arms in the air. We put firearms in the air, Molotov cocktails thrown in the air. CNN got Dummy Don in the air, talking about he smell that ganj in the air. Dummy don't know and dummy don't care. Get that punk motherfucker out of here. Interlude, speaking of smelling that ganj in the air. And 6 pounds of weed these motherfuckers smoked when they were making these albums. Alright, just them. I mean, I'm sure they probably fucking had parts of the crew, but usually these albums just fucking them, So yeah, the process. It was probably like a couple months. Maybe just a month, man. 6 pounds of weed these motherfuckers smoked. No wonder they spit that half fire all the time. But I tell you what, man, you see them perform live sometimes, and like, I mean, God bless them, but sometimes they're so fucked up that they forget their own shit. Alright? So don't blame me. Alright? I'm not trying to say I'm as good as them, I'm not, but don't blame me for when that happens. Ghost of walking, ghost of talking, everything gon' be different, man. Shh, karma's coming, ain't no running. Death gon' deal with the guilty, man. The universe curses the killers, man. Can't keep killing God's children, man. A pound of flesh is what you owe. Your debt is due, give up your ghosts. Thieves, what have you done? What have you done? What are you making us do? Thieves, it's on you. It's on you. Thieves. It ends with Martin Luther King. I think America must see that riots do not develop out of thin air. Certain conditions continue to exist in our society which must be condemned as vigorously as we condemn riots. But in the final analysis, a riot is the language of the unheard. Things have changed since the government orchestrated assassination of Martin Luther King. And they fundamentally changed a few years earlier with Malcolm, a couple years earlier than that with John Kennedy. And then before that, again, we sublimate it by these fascinations with these South American hit jobs and fucking Scarface fucking blowing up cars and fucking Israel and all that shit. But no, we in the United States, amongst our elites, have politicians assassinated before they're even able to fucking become that. Because they're not politicians. They have people, human beings. They have activists, revolutionaries killed. I'm glad now people are seeing, and I haven't seen it yet. But Judas and the Black Messiah looks like it's a very good movie. I mean, none of the movies paint a real fucking picture, but it looks like it's pretty good for showing leftism in a fair light. But what they did to Fred Hampton, a 19-year-old black child, more or less. I mean, not to diminish him, he was a wiser man than the oldest fucking white man. Like, he was a genius, which is why they had to kill him. And you think that was the first time they did that? No, that's like the first one that we have. Like, oh wait, we got the documents, you motherfuckers. Like, it's on all the songs. There's a Rage Against the Machine, and neutralize, like, And because enough time has passed, these sealed documents, are not released. And of course, the ones that they don't ever want us to see will never be released because the laws are just fucking pantomime to appease us. Like, what? The real fucking proof, the real tapes, the real footage of the real fucked up shit is burned. Or like Trump. Like, we think Trump is dumb, but the reason why Trump got away for decades with what he does is because when he seals the deal, when he shakes the Mephistopheles' hands, he becomes the devil himself. When he makes those deals, they happen in a room where it happens, Da, 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 da. No emails, no phone calls. And like Nixon, probably paranoid as fucking shit. No bugs, no nothing, no evidence that can be used against him. Plausible deniability to a T, and even when he makes those deals, he probably hits it with a wink. And enough intermediaries to make it so that even if we wanted to use the conventional systems of accountability, which are based on fucking white privilege to begin with, it's not going to work. Mr. Potter gets away with it. Trump's going to get away with it. Yeah, but the Supreme Court said we're going to look at these tax returns. There's going to be nothing interesting on those tax returns. We've already really seen the real fucking juicy shit. It's not going to do nothing. He's going to use his times in the courts to drum up more publicity. And unless he has a fucking amphetamine-induced heart attack, he's going to run again and he's going to win. Donald Trump and Mike Landau. Vice President Mike Landau. And then think about this. Think about, okay, they assassinate Trump. I mean, well, whatever. When he wins again. We're going to have President Mike Landau, the My Pillow guy. Isn't the fucking, I'm laughing because this is funny, but this isn't a stand-up routine, this is serious. I mean, it might not be that. It could be like Nikki Haley. Maybe like the conventional GOP might actually beat him. But it ain't gonna be nobody good. It ain't nobody good now. Fuck Joseph Biden, that racist fucking weirdo prick. He ain't even doing shit. It's like we thought Bernie Sanders was gonna be weekend of fucking Bernie's. Nah. Bedtime for Bonzo, okay? Bedtime for Bidenzo. Thought Ronald Reagan was bad. No, fucking, we're gonna watch. We'll see Star Wars Part 2. Before it was A New Hope. We're gonna see The Force Awakens. Joe Biden's gonna start talking some nonsense. His dementia. Coach Kamala Harris gonna do nothing. Keep posing for photo ops. She doesn't know. She's out of her element. They're all out of their element right now. They're all in over their heads. But the Emperor's new clothes, So again, what have you done? What are you making us do? Thieves. They heard it. They heard the riots. They heard the language of the unheard has been heard for a while. Instead of doing shit. So what type of noise is it gonna take? I don't think anything's gonna stop it. The rest is silence. What do you think that ghost is? It's the ghost of Hamlet's dad. One of Joe's are very good writers.